Hello everybody, welcome back to Outriders. In this video, we are going through September 23rd, Developer News Thursday, and I want to start off before we jump into this. I don't understand why they're buffing stuff. It's nice to have buffs in the game, don't get me wrong, and obviously it counters the nerfs that they're doing. They shouldn't be doing the nerf to Fortress in the first place. I understand they want people to use a big range of stuff in their game, but if people don't want to, they can't do nerfs and buffs to try and force it. People are going to play how they want. If people want to use Fortress, let them use Fortress. If they want to use Moaning Winds, let them use Moaning Winds. By doing all these nerfs, they're going to push players away. Because right now, in the game's current state, it's not worth playing at all. It's an absolute disaster in player count for matchmaking. The matchmaking's horrible, with disconnections, server issues all over the place, because they decided to go P2P. Alongside that, you have delay after delay on their small patches, which will in turn put the community off, because when there's a bigger patch, a smaller one takes a month, a bigger one could take 6 months. However, jumping into this article, I don't think they should do buffs and nerfs. I think they should drop all this stuff, focus on making new content, fix the matchmaking and the servers, and remove the timer from expeditions. If they did that and listened to the community that has said, why have we got timed expeditions? If they listened and removed the timers, added loadouts, added a lock system for gear that people don't want to accidentally dismantle, the game would be in a really good position. That's just what they're not listening to. They're not understanding. Listen to your community, your game will thrive. Come up with ideas off your own back that the community don't agree with, and you're going to have a bad time. That's the easiest way to put it, and that's also, it happens for everything in life. If you walk into a shop and you go to buy toilet roll, you try out this new company that makes the toilet roll for the first time, and your finger slips through that when you're going to the toilet. You're not going to go back and buy it again. You're going to go try another company again. And then when you find the right one, you're going to go back. You're going to keep going back. So when you have a game, if you are listened to, if you actually feel like you're part of the community and your feedback isn't just being pushed to the side, you're going to go back. If things change in a positive way for the community as a whole, people are going to go back. People are going to be positive. Content creators are going to promote your game completely free. You're going to make more money. Your business is going to boom. It's just a win-win to listen. The community have their set ways of wanting the game, and granted, it comes from all different angles. But put out some surveys. Gather some feedback. It's too late for Outriders. The game's been out 6 months. They haven't listened a single time anyone said anything. They haven't taken feedback on board or anything like that. Their game's just sitting in the shitter. They can't even break 1k concurrent players in a 24-hour window on Steam worldwide. But let's jump into this, and I will not be going through patch news because it's the same thing we've been seeing for the last month to 6 weeks-ish. And the only thing I'll go through in the ongoing list of currently tracked issues is the very top thing, which is the state of Stadia. So the general news for this one, it'll be linked in the description if you want to read it yourself. Our latest patch is currently in the final stages of the first party submission process. We know this has been a long process, but we are confident that we are nearing the proper release of this patch and are hoping to get it out in the very near future. The very near future, anywhere between now and the next 6 weeks, I'm going to say. So no idea when this patch is actually being released. But what we're going to do now is move into the, what they're calling Fortress and wider balancing, including legendary sets. So, starting off with what I've highlighted, there is a little bit of extra text, however I didn't find it relevant. It's basically just a thank you from them for feedback that they don't listen to. So, Fortress will not be changed in isolation. The changes will be implemented as part of a much bigger update across Outriders, which will include a slew of other buffs to legendary armor sets, other mods and the class trees. This bigger update, which is still a little way away, is also planned to make significant improvements to other aspects of Outriders and will bring Stadia in line with all other platforms. So Stadia, not having a single patch since the launch of the game, still has to wait. They have to release this current patch, work on all this other stuff, then release it, and with them saying it's a little way away, when it comes to release date, it might have processing issues and be delayed for 6 weeks. We also have additional ideas for further buffs should they be needed, but we are confident the upcoming rebalance will be enough to leave players feeling just as powerful as before, but with a greater diversity of options to choose from. We do not plan to address the issues of either Fortress or Moaning Winds before we've resolved the challenges that drove the creation of this meta and that continue to require its viability. So that right there, the only possible thing they can do to resolve the challenge of having Fortress as a meta is removing timers off expeditions. People need as much DPS as they can possibly get. Fortress provides a lot of DPS. The only way to counter the challenge is to remove timers off expeditions. You therefore do not need to worry about overly disruptive changes to the current power balance, as long as the overall end-to-end endgame experience exists in its current form. With that said, we wanted to share some details around the legendary armor reworking that has been going on behind the scenes. Bear in mind that the changes to the sets are still subject to further internal balance testing, so these aren't even guaranteed what we're about to read out, but we hope you'll find these planned changes as exciting as we do. No, I don't. I really don't, PCF, if I'm completely honest. By the sounds of a couple of them, they're trying to push them even more into DPS-focused sets. And not only that, I don't really care too much for buffs. I know some players will, but I have found the set I like using, so buffing other stuff, bringing it up, doesn't make a difference to me personally, and I believe a few people will feel the same, because we already have the sets that we are using. If we find something, like Fortress, that currently works and get us gold times, if Fortress wasn't being nerfed, what's the point of switching when they buff something else? You will have some people trying the new stuff, finding new meta, and then if there is new meta, people will start switching, probably myself included. But it's all about doing the content in the game as efficiently as you can, for a big portion of the player base. So a lot of these buffs don't make a difference, and I'm going to say right now, some of them are complete and utter dog shit. So starting off with the Devastator Marshall. The set bonus will have its shared bonus derived from anomaly damage increased to 40% from 10. The Marshall Gloves armor set piece, so the gauntlets, will have the mod swapped. The Shattered Armor mod will be replaced with the Mosh Pit mod. So the Shattered Armor mod removed armor from enemies, while the Mosh Pit mod applies the status effect vulnerability. As the Marshall gear is more of an anomaly power set, we decided it was a better fit to increase damage from all sources instead of reducing enemy armor. So it goes from reducing enemy armor to being more anomaly power focused, and increasing damage from all sources, which is focused on DPS, dealing your damage per second. For Death Proof, a new set bonus will be added to the existing. The existing bonus is reducing the cooldown of Boulder Dash by 90%. The additional new set bonus will be all of the above, so reducing the cooldown of Boulder Dash by 90%, but also increasing firepower by 15% of your armor. So that's one of the examples. I don't care. I don't use Boulder Dash. I don't plan on using Death Proof so that I can use Boulder Dash to get the extra firepower based on the 15% of my armor. But also with Death Proof, the gauntlets, so the gloves, have had their mod swapped. Kingslayer will be replaced with Death's Door. They haven't explained what that is. I don't have the game loaded at the moment, so I can't go and check. And then with Statue, the only thing they've done is swapped one of the attributes. So the Skill Leech attribute is going to be replaced with a Close Range Damage attribute. So again, focusing on DPS. So for the Pyro, the Lava Lick set. The set bonus will have the cooldown reduction it provides increased to 30% from 10. And then with Reforged, this is by far the biggest change. It's pretty much a complete overhaul of the set. So it was originally intended to be a long-range firepower set. However, players have mostly used it with anomaly power builds. We will therefore change the attributes of this set to better support anomaly damage builds. The long-range attributes on all set pieces will be changed for either a cooldown reduction or a skill leech attribute. That's fair enough. People are already using it. They're switching it to make it fall in line better with what players are using it for. That's a very good change. The headpiece, Cowl of the Reforged, is going to swap attributes. Health is going to be replaced with anomaly power. The long range attribute is going to be replaced with either cooldown reduction or a skill leech. And this change makes the helmet more suitable to the set's new functionality of an anomaly power oriented build. What I think they should do is they should have hard content in the game. So for an example, we'll say Eye of the Storm. They should have that, so you are guaranteed specific attributes on pieces of gear that you can put in a top tier build. And then what I think they should do is have some pool, maybe in a, I don't know, to put it on a daily rotation of 3 different expeditions you can play, to where you have random attributes roll, so you can make your own builds. So instead of cooldown reduction, long range and close range damage improvements on an attribute set, like on a legendary armor set, instead of those 3 always specifically rolling, you can't get anything different. Have it sometimes to where you can get something to drop with RNG and the attributes, so players can make their own builds. Then they wouldn't need to do all this reworking, because players can find stuff with attributes they want, Not only that, but it keeps the players on the game, it builds up their playtime hours, it gives them something to do. You see what I'm getting at? Obviously it's not a perfect change, it would take a lot of work and stuff, take a long time to get into the game. It's an overhaul of a feature sort of thing. They would have to add the rotation in, they would have to do it so it's only on set expeditions every day. Like, there's a lot of coding and stuff that would need to be made, and some people might not be happy with it. But off the top of my head, it's a decent idea. Not the greatest, not the worst. But moving on, the chest armor of the Reforged is going to have its mod swapped. Bullet absorption will be replaced with Ash Grasp, which inflicts ash on all enemies in Thermal Bomb's AoE range prior to its explosion. This should make Thermal Bomb much easier to use as part of this set, and then the lower armour, so the waistcloth of the Reforged, is going to have its mod swapped. Wildfire has been replaced with the Fire Frenzy, which provides an additional use of Thermal Bomb. Then for the feet, Boots of the Reforged, again having the mod swapped. Nova Master will be replaced with Anomaly Hunger. By making this, we expect the Feed the Flames skill to deal more damage, making it a better tool to detonate thermal bombs. And then the set bonus is going to have its damage bonus increased to 75% from 50%. So using Thermal Bomb will increase the next damage of Feed the Flames, and then using Feed the Flames increases the damage of the next Thermal Bomb by 75% instead of 50%. Then into Trickster, Trespasser set. A new set bonus will be added to the existing. The existing bonus is player characters inside Slow Trap cannot die. The additional new set bonus will be increased damage by 6% per enemy affected by a Deception skill, and then players can't die inside Slow Trap. Deception skills are Slow Trap, Venator's Knife, and Time Rift. Then for the Techno, Torrential Downpour. The extra cluster bombs spawned by the set bonus of the Torrential Downpour set will have their deployment time reduced. A bug that is preventing an extra mine's deployment after a direct hit will also be fixed. And then for Grim Inventor's set, the set bonus has been changed so the Tools of Destruction will be able to be refilled multiple times during its duration. So the old set was, while it's active, being Tools of Destruction, a confirmed hit with Pain Launcher will refill 20% ammo for both minigun and RPG. This only happens once for each Tool of Destruction usage, but now it's going to work multiple times. So all they've done in the new set bonus will be part of the text in this article, is they've just removed that this only happens once for each usage. And then, as I said, underneath patch news, it's the same stuff we've been seeing for the last 6 weeks. And an ongoing list of currently tracked issues. They have said here, the only one I'm going to read out, State of Stadia. Stadia, whether people play it or not, they have said still needs to be brought in line with other platforms with regards to fixes, bug resolutions and crossplay support. We are planning to complete this alignment with the upcoming big update that Outriders is planned to receive in future. By big update, we do not mean a smaller patch, but significant changes across the board. The work it's taken to align it to date means that such a bigger update is the best possible way to resolve the situation. We appreciate this work has taken longer than expected and do apologise. So for the last 6 months, Stadia has not had a single update. They are still running on version 1. They've not had anything done to their platform, yet they've still been charged £60. If you look at the reworking and the overhauling of this stuff, people have been commenting saying this game's not live service. When it's not live service, as the developers claimed, it's a fully released product. That's what they said. Whether it's a one and done game or not, that's irrelevant for what I'm saying right now. They said this is a fully released product. When you're swapping mods around like you are, when you're buffing, when you're nerfing, when you're releasing a lot of bug fixes, that is not a complete game. What they must have meant when they said that is that it's content complete. They don't plan to add any other content. Unless it does well, they release DLC or new content or whatever. They've said they're going to be releasing new content, but when they said this is a fully released product, they must have meant it's content complete. Because this game, in terms of its functionality, how it works, accessibility, all that sort of stuff, the diversity in builds, all the issues in the game, the bugs and everything, that is not complete. This is being treated as a live service, and they are refusing to call it a live service, but that's the way it is. And if you notice all these buffs, they're just changing mods around. There are a couple, yes, that increase percentages of things, but they're not really, in a way, making them stronger. They're just, giving them a clearer use. They're specifying them more. For an example, when I say that, if we take a look at... what's the best example? It's probably going to be Reforged. It was originally intended to be a long-range firepower set. However, players have started using it for anomaly power, so they're going to change it to anomaly power to make it easier for players to use. Then all they've really done is just swapping attributes and increasing... They did increase his damage bonus by 25% from 50 up to 75. So what they've done is they've grabbed the weaker stuff in the game and they've gone, boom, we're going to try and bring this up a little bit more, which is, it is good because it's balancing. I'm not going to sit there and say, oh no, it's not enough, you've got to do the sets that I'm using, I want to be really, really overpowered. It's very nice of them to put this much effort, even if it's just an article. They put the effort into writing the article. They did say it's subject to change, so none of this is final. So when the update does come out, even if it's in a year's time, and the set bonus of Marshall, the Devastator set, if that doesn't go up to 40% from 10% anomaly damage, they did say it's subject to change. It's nice that they're balancing. It's appreciated that they pay attention to some of this stuff, like the community using a set for a different reason as to what they intended it for, so they're going to change it and bring it to that, what the community are using it for. But at the same time, as I said towards the start of the video, all they got to do is drop all these buffs, drop the nerf on Fortress, forget about Moaning Winds, for now at least. They could do all this stuff in the future. For now, their priorities are wrong, that's what I'm going to say, because they shouldn't be prioritising buffs and nerfs, they should be prioritising getting their players back. By changing stuff that's already in the game, players don't care. All they have to do, and it might be hard work, but it's really simple in terms of not having so much work to do. Buy some new servers that are dedicated, release them for the public to play on. Yeah, it's going to cost money, but the game has made money for them to spend. They basically use it as an investment. Make money off the community, put that money back into the game, you're going to make more profit because you're making improvements. Buy new servers, remove the stupid expedition timers, let people run stuff how they want to, and not be rushed and forced into DPS stuff. And then, as I said, release new content, let people play more of the game. They said they've got all these stories and stuff, they've got ideas as to what they want to do with new content. Just release that sort of stuff and go from there. Actually put testing into updates. Don't tell people an update's ready when it's going to take an extra month to release it, because they're building hype and then letting people down. And when someone gets excited, get optimistic, then get let down, it makes it worse than just staying quiet. So I think the direction of this, from whoever's lead, management, whatever, I think they've got it all wrong. I think maybe a role change in the studio or whatever might be a good idea. Because right now what they've done is essentially charged players £60 for the game, besides Game Pass obviously, charge players £60 to beta test. This is the sort of stuff that it should happen in a beta, whether people like admitting it or not. The demo should have been stuff like this. Not only that, but they've put out stuff and intended it for different uses, but then said the game's they said the game's a fully released product. They never said it's content ready or content full or whatever. They said it's a fully released product. And that should mean that they don't need to do all this reworking. But they've sat there and done it all because they do need to. You guys have seen some of the patches before. They've buffed stuff up by 250, maybe 300%. They've had to make drastic changes and overhauls to this stuff, meaning the game wasn't complete at launch, which means it's misleading, it's false advertising, it's lying. You're never going to get anywhere doing shit like that. I really hope I'm going to put this video on Twitter. I want the developers to see this, to understand, because I know a lot of you are going to jump into the comments, and I know for a fact at least a small portion of you will totally agree with what I'm saying. There will be some people who have their own opinions, completely disagree, that's totally understandable, but even if this video is used by the developers to come back, have a look, accept the criticism, all that sort of stuff, but have a look at what the community are saying. People that will put hours into this game. If this game had way more content and the matchmaking was better, or not even the content, if the matchmaking was better and there weren't as many bugs and stuff, like Scorched Land still wasn't fixed because of this update being delayed. If they just release the updates on time, don't announce them until you know the submission for processing or whatever's done. If they just did that, fixed the matchmaking, I guarantee there would be so many more hours put into this game. So much more positive content on all these different platforms like Twitch. Because they mentioned, there are a couple of comments, we'll go through these quickly. This is a list of comments made by the devs in this thread. So, hey everyone, something I've been recently trying to do more regularly is checking in with the community on Twitch alongside our dev news updates. I hate to break it to you, on Twitch, when I had a look, almost peak time on a Saturday, there were 62 people watching Outriders in the entire fucking world. You're not going to get information from 64 people, being 62 watching and 2 people streaming. Like, as an example of 2 people streaming for 62 viewers or whatever. We'll say there's no more than 70, depending on the amount of streamers doing it. So say 62 watching, and we say 8 people streaming it for the 62 viewers. You're not going to get feedback. Go to your biggest area. My channel, I get decent views on Outriders stuff, more than the daily concurrent players on Steam. The forums, like Reddit, probably gets a decent amount of traffic. You've got the discussions and stuff on Steam. You've got other YouTube channels. There's a few others that still cover this game, but there's nowhere near as many. So it'd actually filter it and make it easier to get decent feedback. Look at the comments in the bloody article about these changes. There's someone here that says 217 days the trickster's been broken in multiplayer. So just chuck that into an update. Just get it fixed. Focus on the stuff that the community are talking about. Instead of coming up with shit off your own backs and then getting feedback off the community and not listening to it. And then wondering why people are pissed off and why no one's playing your game and you're not getting royalties from your publisher. What I'm going to do, I could sit there and talk about this for hours and hours on end. I might have to ask a couple of people on Discord or something, or even if you guys are watching the video, if you want to jump into a Discord call with me and have a little chat about this, I'm more than happy. I could sit there honestly and I could make podcasts on this stuff. Absolutely love it. Just getting involved with games and just talking about all the ins and outs and what I feel is right and wrong, or what I'm happy about and not so happy about, all that sort of stuff. Absolutely love it. But so that you guys don't get a headache from me just waffling, I'm going to leave the video there. It's probably going to be a 20-minute plus. But I'm glad I'm cutting it now, because it easily would have been a 35-40 minute video if I carried on the topic I was talking about. But yeah, let me know your thoughts and stuff and everything in the comments. I'll forward it on Twitter. See if the devs will give it a little watch or something like that. Maybe someone could clip little bits or something. I don't know. But I'll leave it there. I'll share it around. See if the devs can just build up community feedback and listen. I'm not saying do everything the community is asking for, because the amount of angles people are going to want stuff done in the game from, all that, like, you could have, I don't know, say there's 800 people playing the game, everyone's going to have a different opinion. So just take, like, group community feedback, things that people agree with, like fixing the bloody trickster, that character class, fixing that. That's going to make some people happy, and I don't think it'd take too long to actually do it properly. Scorched Lands. They could do some of this stuff on the back end. They could release much smaller updates, but more frequently. I understand people have shifts, it's humans working on the game and everything, but I feel they could definitely do it different, and they could 100% do it much better, and much more efficiently. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'll see you in the next video. I hope you guys enjoyed it.